Check out our sponsor, JM Bullion, right now, the most trusted dealer in precious metals, offering a wide selection of products, including silver and gold coins from all of the government mints. Free shipping for AMTV subscribers.
The violent extremism that has so disrupted Iraq and Syria and threatens the region as a whole. In addition to His Majesty, King Abdullah, I want to give a special welcome to Prime Minister Abadi and say congratulations to him for his leadership, to our friends from Saudi Arabia, from Bahrain and Qatar. We want to thank you very much for everything that you have done, and the United Arab Emirates as well. Again, I just want to say thank you to all of you. This is obviously not the end of an effort, but is rather a beginning. But I'm confident with the kind of partnership that's represented here that we'll be able to be successful.
Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2014. I did an exclusive breaking news report last night explaining to you, as I've predicted over the past 5 years with over 1,500 videos. In fact, it's pretty much the entire basis of AMTV's platform, Alternative Media Television, predicting these wars in Syria, the airstrikes Obama-led in places like Iraq, the ensuing global war, all to do with our financial institutions, OPEC, the oil supply, the U.S. dollar reserve currency. I mean, I couldn't have set this up any more beautifully, in a more perfect scenario, just right up on a silver platter for the American people and the people around the world that have been loyally tuning into me over the past 5 years. In fact, I was actually going through some of my old content, my videos, just typing in keywords like Syria, Iraq, and pulling dozens and dozens, over 50 videos on Syria alone before I got tired, began to snooze off. You know, all of these videos predicting an engagement and war in Syria, an Obama-led airstrike in Iraq, that I just turned it off and said, you know, I'm just going to make a video and talk about the same thing I've been talking about over the years for 5 consecutive years now. And again, people have called me every name in the book. Called me very degrading things, made heinous comments, called me a nutbag, a conspiracy theorist. You see, the only difference between me and everybody else is the conspiracy theory that I've been talking about all comes true, all happens in actual reality. And now the president, since he's moved his chess pieces in the right places, is now engaged in war.
Good morning, everybody. Last night, on my orders, America's armed forces began strikes against ISIL targets in Syria. I also made clear that America would act as part of a broad coalition, and that's exactly what we've done. We were joined in this action by our friends and partners, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Bahrain, and Qatar.
He's positioned his propaganda, the ISIS beheadings that swayed public opinion. There is now a new group, a new terrorist organization we've never even heard of, called Khorasan. They just came out of nowhere. It's kind of like the Easter Bunny or Sesame Street. And the only reason Khorasan is in the news today is because Obama needs to justify his illegal action. They're calling Khorasan an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. And because Khorasan, they say, according to Obama, it's kind of like, you know, Sesame Street or the Easter Bunny, Big Bird, because they're an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, that, I guess, legalizes what Obama's doing, even though it's anti-congressional, it's illegal, it's executive action, because he says he has a little something called the 2001 Authorization of Military Force, which was a byproduct of September 11, 2001 in the George W. Bush year. So the only reason you're hearing about Khorasan, again, it might as well just be the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, is because it's a way for Obama and the mainstream media to justify these illegal atrocities being committed on innocents overseas, not just in a couple countries, but literally, quite literally, on the entire Middle East, which has always been the objective. You know, I'll still get comments in my thread reading this. I read all my comments. I respond to tons of them. I respond to dozens a day. I'll get comments that still will say that Obama didn't want to go to war, that this is just a hardship he's had to endure, that, you know, the circumstances changed, and, you know, now we're just suddenly bombing the entire friggin' Middle East. Now, if for a minute you think that the U.S. military-industrial complex is a reactionary entity, then you're a fool. You're a friggin' idiot. The United States of America is still arguably the most powerful military complex in the world today, is not a reactionary entity. We're very much playing the chess game of war. We have been for years, and it's why since the very moment the President of the United States, Barack Obama, took office, he's been organizing and putting together this strategy. Now, Obama doesn't deserve all the blame. And I want to notate that. I want to point that out. You know, the people to blame are the ones behind the President of the United States. These moneyed families, these financial institutions that receive the trillions of dollars of bailouts from U.S. taxpayers, really just a handful of people behind the scenes that push this power structure and this agenda forward through the teleprompter reader that makes up Barack Hussein Obama. So Khorasan really is just a cover, and it's a front to somehow justify Obama's illegal acts. And of course, it does not justify any of these acts. And what we're seeing now and witnessing is incredibly dangerous. We've already started and have been in the midst of the global confrontation, this global war, world war. It's just that Americans are now starting to wake up to these atrocities, realize that they've been entirely lied to by this scumbag. Also very important to note that the mainstream media, organizations like CNN, are pinpointing that this is not just a U.S.-led strike, but it's also member nations in the Middle East that have our back and that are on our side, namely countries like Saudi Arabia, that, by the way, if you believe the official bullshit narrative of the mainstream media and the 9/11 Commission investigation, 15 of the 19 terrorists that drove the planes into the World Trade Center and then mysteriously Building 7 also crashed to the ground were all Saudi nationals, including Osama bin Laden himself, an elite Saudi national. Saudi Arabia has joined these airstrikes, this fight. Jordan, Bahrain, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Isn't it interesting that these are all OPEC, most of them at least, OPEC nations, part of this oil petroleum game? Of course, this is what it's really about. It's never been about ISIS. It's not about Khorasan, Sesame Street, or Big Bird, or the Easter Bunny. It's about oil, it's about money, and it's about invading countries. You know, it'd be the equivalent of Vladimir Putin of Russia, the president of Russia, saying that he started U.S. airstrikes in the United States of America to fight Republicans. Yeah, that's right. He wasn't and isn't at war with America, even though he's bombing the shit out of the entire country here in the U.S. He's only at war with Republicans and Wall Street bankers in New York City. And that's who he's targeting. That's how this is spun. It's a fight against ISIS and Khorasan and offshoots of Al-Qaeda, not the countries themselves. Not Iraq, a country, by the way, that founded OPEC back in the day. It's not about any of that. It's not about these countries. It's about ISIS. Yeah, that's what the mainstream media wants you to believe. Now, according to a Pentagon press release earlier this morning from Secretary John Kirby, you probably recognize his face, he said that this war against ISIS will be multi-year. It will be a multi-year effort. Now, I want you to get something through your head, America. Anytime Obama says he's not going to do something or not to expect something, expect it. Expect the opposite of what this scumbag says. So when he said repeatedly, again, no strikes against Syria, no war in Iraq, no war in Libya, I told you to expect war. And you got war in Libya, war in Iraq, war in Syria, war in the entire Middle East. So when he emphasizes and re-emphasizes, as they're doing now, no boots on the ground, no boots on the ground, no boots on the ground, I will guarantee you boots on the ground. I will guarantee you tens of thousands of American soldiers, U.S. troops, men and women on the ground to fight and die in these egregious bullshit wars for a shadowy, small, handful network of people that, again, prompt the president and push him in front of a teleprompter to further their agenda. Very untrustworthy and an untrustworthy group of people. And again, this has more to do with about the moral fervitude and the moral backbone of Washington, D.C. today. This corrupt nature of our leadership, the fact that we need a reboot, we need a refresher, we need to reset the criminals in Washington, D.C. today, the politicians, the Wall Street bankers, etc. Also, note, and I just saw this before making this video, that the U.S. is invoking, in fact, they're panicking because they know this war is illegal. There's no other way to spin it outside of Khorasan. They also mentioned, they said, I laughed and almost shit my pants. In fact, I started to wear a diaper today because I'm shitting my pants with laughter so much. They said that they only learned that Khorasan was planning an attack on the U.S. this week. Our intelligence, they expect us to believe this. That's the reason for the strikes. They said that we were going to bomb Khorasan anyways. But because they're scrambling and they're panicking, because they know this is anti-constitutional, it's illegal. There's no legal way or reason that Obama can illegally just totally start war with the entire Middle East. The U.S. is invoking UN Article 51, a self-defense clause through the United Nations and its member states that says that we can, in self-defense, strike first, unilaterally, not in self-defense. In fact, we're the aggressor. We're striking these nations first, but we're invoking United Nations Article 51 for self-defense. Again, there's nothing defensive about attacking. There's nothing defensive about striking first. There's nothing defensive about striking and bombing Iraq. There's nothing defensive about striking and bombing Syria. There's nothing defensive about starting ground invasions in these countries, which is soon to come. It will be a byproduct of this scumbag, this liar, something that I predicted for over 5 years now with over 1,500 friggin' videos. Our entire platform that makes up alternative media television today, AMTV, and your incredible loyalty. Share this video everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and trust in the truth, my friends. It'll set you free. Get it out, make it viral right now.